everybody, Low Carb Keith here. I'm back in my kitchen and we are still remodeling, as you can tell. But it's supper time and I thought I would make a dish, a keto low carb dish tonight. And I came across a recipe this week called a keto chicken casserole. And I kind of liked what it said, but I'm not going to make a casserole out of it. I'm just going to make it in the skillet. So let me show you what we're going to use. Okay, so this does have a lot of ingredients in it, and the main part of this dish is going to be chicken thighs. You can tell that I cooked and cut up some boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and I steamed some broccoli, which in all the recipes that I've done, I don't think I've ever used broccoli. So those are going to be the main two ingredients. I've also got some green onions chopped up. I've got some mushrooms chopped up. I have about a cup of riced cauliflower. I have some Parmesan cheese, some Dijon mustard, a little bit of heavy cream, some mayonnaise, and some cheddar cheese, and also have a little bit of cream cheese. So that's what we're going to make. Okay, so I've got my butter, a couple of tablespoons of butter melted in my skillet. And first thing I'm going to do is add my mushrooms and my green onions, and we're going to kick those up just a little bit. You could use regular onion with this, but I decided that I wanted to use green onions with it. So, and we're just going to let those cook a little bit. They've cooked pretty well. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add our cauliflower rice in there, just a little bit of it. Okay, the cauliflower rice was not in the recipe that I found, but I had some, and it adds a little heft to it, to a dish. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to add about a quarter of a cup of Parmesan cheese. Okay, a quarter of a cup. I am going to add some cream cheese. Now the recipe calls for 4 ounces of cream cheese. I don't think this is 4 ounces. It's probably closer to 3. But I'm going to put this cream cheese. This is all I have left. So I'm going to put that in there. And I'm also going to add it calls for 6 tablespoons of heavy cream. I'm just going to eyeball that. It's probably going to be about 6 tablespoons of heavy cream. Turn it down just a little bit. And it also calls for 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. So I'm going to get 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. And basically what we're doing is we're going to create a sauce that will coat the chicken and the cauliflower, or the broccoli, I should say. Okay, and let's see what else. Got a little bit of Dijon mustard that we're going to put in there, just a squirt or two, just to give it a little tanginess. There we go. Now let's just mix all this up good. Make sure it doesn't burn. So we're going to turn it down just a little bit. Yeah. So we've got the mushrooms, the cauliflower, the green onions, all that in there. And it's going to make kind of a really creamy sauce for our chicken and our broccoli. It looks good and it smells good. Okay. Now, the next thing that we do is let's add in our broccoli, and this was just 1 bag of steamed broccoli. I'm going to mix that up. These broccoli florets are a little big, but that's okay. You could cut them up if you wanted to. Okay, that looks good. All right, and now what we're going to do, we're going to add our chicken in there, this is probably a good 3 or 4 cups chicken. All right, and it's boneless, skinless chicken thighs. You could use breast, I suppose, if you wanted to. Okay. You can put that, and it's all, like I said, it's already cooked. I baked that earlier today. Chopped it up. Wow, that really does look good, doesn't it? And what we're going to do is we're going to let this sit and kind of simmer on the stove for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, something like that. Kind of like those flavors kind of come together. You know, there's something else you could do if you wanted to. I was looking, sorry about that, I was looking to see if we had any pecan pieces, and we don't, but I bet a 1/4 cup of pecan pieces in this would be absolutely delicious. But what I do have is I do have some pork rinds that I bet if I crushed up on there, if they would give it a little bit of a crunch. Let's see what we got here. I'm just going to crush some pork rinds up. You could do this, but normally what I do is I put it in a gallon bag, a freezer bag or something, and I pound it with a rolling pin. Okay. That just gives it kind of a little bit of a crispy topping. And then also I'm going to add just about a 1/4 cup of cheddar cheese. It's right on top. And we're going to put the lid on it, let that cheese melt, and cheese melt. Maybe, I don't know, maybe a 1/2 cup of cheddar cheese. All right. We're going to let that sit, cover it up, let those flavors come together. Then we'll come back and we'll give it a taste test. All right. So my keto creamy chicken and broccoli has been sitting on the stove for about 15 minutes or so. Just kind of letting all those juices get melded together and those flavors get together. So I think it's time to take a look at it and take a taste. This is what it looks like. It does look really, really good. So I'm going to dish a little bit of it out and we'll take a taste. Now, look at that right there. Looks good, doesn't it? Now, you may notice that I didn't put really any seasoning on this. I didn't put any salt or pepper, but when I cooked the chicken earlier, I did put some seasoning on that. So, depending on how much seasoning you like, you may need to add some salt and pepper if you try this. Let's take a bite. See how it tastes. It's hot, but that is so good. I mean, the cream, the heavy cream, the cream cheese, the cheese, the other flavorings that we put in there really make that a really rich, creamy sauce for this chicken and broccoli. And Yeah, it's really, really good. And this is the kind of thing you can make and keep in the refrigerator for a few days. Warm it up in the microwave. That's really good. I'm going to have this for dinner. I'm going to see if my wife would like to have some of this for dinner. She might. And I hope you get a chance to make this. It was easy. It was simple. It didn't take a whole lot. It's fairly inexpensive to make. Chicken, broccoli, and some of the other things. And you can mix it up. You can do things in your kitchen with what you have, whatever you want to do. Just make it your own. That's what I did. And it was great. It was great. All right. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And we'll be back in another day or two with another delicious low-carb keto meal.